Hello viewers, welcome back to our channel. Ladies and gentlemen, today we'll talk about rain-fed rice farming, or rice that is grown under dry land farming. Before we do that, we'll ask that you subscribe to our channel and also share our videos. You could also leave us some comments about your thoughts on our topics. Now, rice farming in Kenya is mainly done under irrigation. 80% of all the rice produced in the country is grown under irrigation, while 20% is grown under rain-fed conditions. Rice is planted in paddies that are flooded with water, and we have several irrigation schemes in the country. The best known irrigation scheme is the Mwea one, but we have others like Bunyara irrigation scheme, Ahero in Kisumu. We also have Bura irrigation scheme in Tana River County. Now, all in all, rice is grown in over 20 counties across the country. There are several varieties of rice that have been developed for rain-fed farming. In other words, rice that you can grow without irrigation. Some of these varieties include the Nerika, the Koboka, uh, among others. There are very many that have been developed for different ecological zones in the country. The rain-fed varieties are very high yielding varieties. Some of them are drought resistant. Some are very early maturing in 3.5 to 4 months. And they are also resistant to some of the pests and diseases. And this is because the varieties were developed using high yielding um, varieties from Asia, which were crossed with African varieties that are already adapted to harsh conditions. And so these varieties are very good for food security. One, because they mature very early, 3.5 to 4 months. And there are some parts of this country where, for instance, maize takes about 8 months to mature. And so if you compare with the rice, which can grow in 3.5 months, then one may consider that they are better off farming the rice than maize. Um, the rain-fed varieties have been in the country for many years. Some were introduced over 15 years ago, but the uptake or the adoption of these technologies has not been very good. Um, there are farmers who are not aware, for instance, that they can grow rice in the same way they grow maize or beans or even other crops. The government is pushing for adoption of these varieties, as well as increasing the area under rice farming. And this is because the demand for rice consumption for rice is growing at a very high rate of 12% compared with the maize or wheat. Rice is actually the third most important cereal crop after maize and wheat. And its demand is rising because of urbanization and because of changing eating habits. There are many people now who are changing from eating ugari or githeri to eating rice, particularly the youth. And so we find that the demand for rice is growing. Yet, as a country, we only produce about 20% of the rice consumed in the country. 80%, about 80% is imported. And so we have a huge import bill for the rice that we can actually grow in the country. Now, the other thing is that of the rice that is grown in Kenya, 60% of it is grown in the Mwea irrigation scheme. And the figures of the uh, rice that is produced in Kenya is likely to change because of the completion in 2022 of the Dhiba Dam. This is a dam that was constructed in Kirinyaga to stabilize the water supply to Mwea irrigation scheme. Water was quite a challenge, and now with the completion of the dam, farmers are able to do double cropping or to plant rice twice in a year. Some farmers are even actually planting 3 times in a year because the water is now available. The other thing is that the Dam was also to allow for expansion of the Mwea irrigation scheme by 10,000 acres. And this would bring the total area under the under Mwea irrigation scheme to 35,000 acres, because previously there have been about 25,000 acres. So the rice production figures are likely to change, and also other schemes are also having some expansion programs. So in future, we are expecting that our import bill for rice will reduce tremendously. Now, one may ask where they can get the seed to plant in their farms. And I think for these rain-fed varieties, the first stop would be the National Irrigation Authority. One can make inquiries there. And also the Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization, CARO. CARO is quite involved in production of certified rice seeds. And so if you are interested in rice farming, you can inquire from CARO for certified rice seed. So until next time, we'll stop there for today. Thank you.